Have you ever stopped to think about just how much power is packed into one single simple word? Well, today we're diving into a really ambitious project that tried to boil the entire English language down to its absolute essence, all for one reason: to make communication clearer for everybody. We're going to see how one common, everyday word can unlock a whole universe of meaning. Let's get into it.
That sounds kind of crazy, right? Explaining everything, we're talking science, art, philosophy, you name it, with a vocabulary that's actually smaller than what a lot of toddlers have. But believe it or not, that was the incredible, audacious goal of a project called Basic English.
So here's our game plan for today. You can think of it like an hourglass. We're going to start wide with the big, ambitious dream of a simple English. Then we'll narrow our focus way, way down to one perfect little example, the word hat. We'll break it apart, see what makes it tick, and then we'll zoom back out to understand why it all matters.
So, what exactly was this dream of Simple English? Now, it's so important to get this straight right away. This was never about dumbing down the language. Not at all. It was actually the exact opposite. Think of it as a precision-engineered tool, a kind of international second language designed to build a bridge between people so complex ideas could be shared using a simple, solid foundation.
And here's the magic number: 850. The entire system was built on just 850 carefully chosen words. Just let that sink in for a second. The people behind this believed that with just these words, used in the right way, you could express almost any idea imaginable. The challenge, of course, was huge. How do you build a skyscraper of thought with such a tiny toolbox?
Okay, so to really see how this thing works in practice, we need a good example. Something simple, something everyday. And really, what's more simple and everyday than a hat? It's just the perfect test case to see if this whole system actually holds together. And yep, sure enough, the Simple English Wiktionary confirms it for us. Hat is officially on the list. It made the cut. It's one of the chosen 850. So this means it isn't just some random word. It's an official, foundational building block for this entire language system. All right, so if hat is one of these core words, how do you define it with absolute, total simplicity? Well, the whole process starts at the most basic level you can imagine, just the sound the word makes. And what's so fascinating is that even with a super simple word like hat, the source points out these subtle little differences in how it's pronounced, say in the US versus how it's said in parts of Canada. It just shows you the incredible level of detail they had to consider to build a truly universal system, right down to the specific sounds. And here we have the definition itself. And honestly, it's so simple, it's almost poetic. A piece of clothing that you wear on your head. That's it. No complicated jargon, no fancy words. It is direct, it is clear, and literally anyone on the planet could understand that. This, right here, is the very heart of basic English. A definition is one thing, but context is everything. These examples really show the word hat in action. And notice, they're doing more than just describing an object. They're describing culture, like the custom of taking off your hat in church. They even use this simple structure to introduce a more complex idea, like a poke on it, which just proves you don't need fancy grammar to get specific. So we've seen the simple definition, we've seen it in context. Now it's time to zoom back out again, because this one simple word is actually a doorway into a much, much bigger world. See, a hat is almost never just a hat. It's a symbol, and it's loaded with culture and history. Think about it. A top hat isn't just a piece of clothing. It's Abraham Lincoln. It's the 19th century. A cowboy hat isn't just for keeping the sun off. It's the entire myth of the American West. And the Mad Hatter's hat? Boom, you're instantly in Wonderland. Each one of these is a story, a whole universe of meaning. And it all branches out from one simple noun. And this table is a perfect illustration of how the system is supposed to work. Hat is your way in. It's your entry point. From there, once you've got that solid foundation, you can start to learn the more specific, more advanced words, like millinery for women's hats or haberdashery for men's. You start with that simple block and you build your knowledge up, layer by layer. So we've gone from this big idea of an 850-word list all the way down into the world of a single hat, and now we're back out again. So what's the big takeaway here? What's the point of this journey? Why does this intense focus on being simple matter so much? Well, here's the fundamental takeaway. It's that clarity is power. A system like Basic English was never about limiting what people could say. It was about building a bridge.
It was about giving everyone, no matter their background, a common tool to share ideas, to learn, and to connect with each other as equals.
And that kind of leaves us with this final question to think about. We just spent all this time unpacking the entire world hidden inside the word hat. So what about you? What simple word in your own life holds the most meaning? Something to chew on. Thanks for joining me for this one.